Activision is running software with unrestricted access to your computer's camera. And that's just the beginning. What comes next will expose exactly how they're using it, not just to manipulate gameplay, but potentially to access your computer or console in ways no one expected. Multiple suspicious files have surfaced, revealing that the game can interact with your system settings and security. But one file stands out above the rest. A major red flag: NVCamera 64.dll. Yes, you heard that right. Call of Duty includes a file designed to access your camera's video feed, even if you don't have a webcam connected. The moment the game starts, it gains direct access to your camera. Yet, there's no in-game feature that requires it. Neither the game itself nor its anti-cheat software has any reason to interact with your camera. So why is it happening? The answer might be hidden in an official Activision patent titled Methods and Systems to modify a two-dimensional facial image to increase dimensional depth and generate a facial image that appears three-dimensional. Now, why would Activision need a patent like this? Well, one of the patent's images depicts a player's face overlaid on their gameplay. The footnote describing this image states, in embodiments, the expressions, reactions, and movements of image 1504 reflect the user's expressions, reactions, and movements in real time. In other words, the software can actively read and analyze your facial expressions while you play. And remember, we already know that Call of Duty is accessing your camera the moment it launches. But that leads to an even bigger question. Why? For that, let's turn to another infamous Activision patent: system and method for driving microtransactions in multiplayer video games. And this is where things get really disturbing. This patent details a system that can read a player's emotional state using visual data. One section even describes how it can track behaviors like quitting a match early to determine player satisfaction. So what exactly is Activision doing with this information? Well, based on what we're seeing, the implications are terrifying. And here's where things take a disturbing turn. A player engagement factor, e.g., the speed of player input, a level of focus as determined from camera peripherals, etc., where greater engagement may indicate greater satisfaction. Yes, you heard that right. Activision has designed a system that actively analyzes a player's emotional state through their camera. And it doesn't stop there. Another section expands on this, stating the quality factors may include, for example, a duration of a gameplay session via analysis of player historical data, player psychological state, for example, frustration level, and/or other information. So now we have confirmation. Activision has built systems specifically designed to track your emotions, manipulate engagement, influence microtransactions, and even rig matchmaking. And here's the kicker: the patent for generating 3D facial images from 2D images. It's directly referenced in the microtransaction patent. But wait, there's more. Activision also has AI that listens to your in-game voice chat. So now, Call of Duty not only has unrestricted access to your camera, but it can analyze your face and listen to your voice, all without you actively granting permission. Unless, of course, there's some buried loophole in the terms of service. And at this point, would that even be surprising? Let's recap. The moment Call of Duty boots up, it gains access to your camera. Activision holds patents describing how it tracks your facial expressions to gauge engagement. And unlike X-Defiant, which doesn't use any system-level DLL files, Call of Duty runs external processes in the background, ones we now know tie directly into patents designed to monitor and manipulate player engagement. And now, we get to the final piece of the puzzle, perhaps the most concerning patent yet: methods and systems for continuing to execute a simulation. After processing resources, go offline. That name alone raises serious questions, but when you look at what it actually does, it's chilling. The patent describes a system and method is provided that simulates gameplay of non-player characters, NPCs, distributed across networked end-user devices. The system may identify end-user devices that are connected to the system through a network and are available to participate in a simulation. Each participating device is provided with one or more NPCs to be executed. An end-user device may be available to participate when it has sufficient computing capacity, such as when in an idle or standby state. As such, the system may leverage spare computing capacity of networked end-user devices to execute NPCs at networked end-user devices. Translation: Call of Duty could be using your own device, your PC, console, or whatever you're playing on, to run AI simulations, even when you're not actively playing. But why? And what else could they be using it for? During these simulations, the patent states that NPC behavior is tested using real-world network conditions, things like connection quality, user-to-user coordination, and data exchanges bridges between devices. Sounds technical, but in reality this is eerily similar to something far worse, a botnet. For those who don't know, a botnet is a network of computers forcibly linked in together by malware or a virus. These networks combine the computing power of multiple devices to carry out fraudulent activities, things like sending spam emails, launching DDoS attacks, stealing data, mining cryptocurrency, or even spreading malware to infect more systems. A botnet hijacks computers, turning them into zombie batteries for an operation controlled by someone else. And based on this description, Call of Duty may have just patented one. And what does this patent look like? Activision has essentially patented a botnet, a system that networks multiple devices running Call of Duty to execute background simulations. If done without user consent, that's an illegal practice. Now let's connect the dots further. Another Activision patent details creating AI NPC players that are indistinguishable from real humans. Why is that important? Because instead of relying on real players to react in ways that boost engagement, they can generate the perfect match experience for you, and you'd never know the difference. Considering AI bots have already been spotted in Call of Duty, the implications here are massive. And then there's another huge red flag. On Steam, game doesn't close properly. Even after exiting, background processes remain active. Now, put these patents together. One describes running simulations on devices after they go offline to train NPCs in real-world conditions. Here, the other details AI-controlled players that are indistinguishable from real people. What does this suggest? That your system, yes, yours, could be used without your knowledge to train AI bots even when you're not playing. And if this applies to PCs, there's no reason to assume consoles are exempt. Activision's system links multiple devices running Call of Duty, using their combined processing power to refine NPC behavior, making them harder to distinguish from actual players. And it's all happening behind the scenes. But it gets worse. Here's something most people haven't noticed. Access to the NVCamera 64.dl file doesn't just mean Call of Duty can use your webcam. It means the game can access your entire screen's contents. In other words, Call of Duty contains software that requests access to the actual video feed of your monitor. Now ask yourself, why would they need that? Could this be how they're gathering gameplay data from your perspective to train an AI version of you? Based on the patents they hold and the access they have, it's not out of the question. We don't have absolute proof of this yet, but the evidence is lining up in a way that should make everyone uneasy. And let's not forget, the botnet patent alone is legally questionable. The fact that Activision would even attempt to patent something that hijacks computing power for external purposes says everything about their ethics. And here's the kicker. We already know that Call of Duty gains camera access even when no camera is connected. This suggests the software isn't just checking for a webcam. Be actively watching your screen, your gameplay, and more. Put it all together. Activision has patents designed to monitor your emotions, which means they could be tracking your emotional state through your camera. They've also designed a matchmaking system that manipulates engagement, tailoring your gaming experience to keep you hooked. Then there are AI players that are being created to be indistinguishable from real people, meaning the game could seamlessly insert bots into matches without you realizing it. But it doesn't stop there. Activision's system could be using your device's processing power to train those AI players, all while you're not even playing. And of course, there's the disturbing fact that Call of Duty's software secretly accesses your camera and possibly your screen, gathering information about you while you're in the game and even when you're not. This isn't some wild conspiracy theory. It's based on Activision's own patents and actions. The only way to deny it is blind trust. This is bad, really bad. Call of Duty doesn't need camera access, yet it has it anyway. That alone should be terrifying. But when you factor in the botnet patent, we should all be deeply concerned about what's coming next. This game can already read your facial expressions. It could already be using your system's resources in the background to train AI NPCs. And those AI bots, they'll be injected into matchmaking to create the perfectly manipulated gaming experience, a dopamine-fueled matrix simulator designed to keep you playing for as long as possible. The naysayers will just dismiss it because it sounds too dystopian, but when the truth finally comes out, you'll remember who warned you. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out more related content shown on screen.